Well, hello and welcome back to another hot and sunny week on the allotment. And if you're in the UK, you'll know it just keeps on coming. The week ahead is more dry weather and the week beyond that looks wet, but we'll see. Anyway, what an exciting time on the plot. So much going on. The greenhouse at home is now set up for the summer. Been doing a lot of work in the garden, keeping all that neat and tidy. I've sort of reconciled myself now to the fact that I suspect we're not moving. This delay with this legal thing is, well, it's 7 weeks now. Anyway, so I've sort of reconciled myself. If it happens, what a wonderful situation. But I just, I'm bored with the whole thing. I've sort of given up, which is terrible to say, but I have. So I'm concentrating on the plot and the greenhouse. Everything's coming up now. I've got more cucumbers up. I've got cucumbers now in the greenhouse at home, and the spare ones, I've got to find somewhere to put them in. And that's the biggest problem. I've only got 2.5 allotments. Where do I put it all? So all my butternuts, the winter squash, mashed potatoes, not growing so many of those this year. Pumpkins, a couple of different kinds of pumpkins. A new one I'm trying this year. You cheeky curry, or as I call it, you cheeky bugger. So yeah, lots going on. It's a really exciting time. It's a beautiful sunrise. Sunrise this morning is at 5:14. So here you are. You didn't have to get up for it. I'm going to show it to you. You're very welcome on the plot. The big thing this week is weeds. The weeds are growing as prolifically as the crops. So once I've enjoyed a cup of tea, we'll have a look around the plot, see what's going on. So, there we are, sunrise on the plot. Never bore of it. Love it. So, let's have a wander up or down the plot and look at what's good. Well, there are significant moments on an allotment. Putting your first early potatoes in, starting the peas off, all sorts of different moments, and having the first ripe strawberry warmed by the sun is definitely up there with the best. And Friday evening, Cheryl came up with our evening meal. We had our tea on the plot, and as tradition now, I saved the first ripe strawberry for her, and she enjoyed it on the plot, and it's a really good moment. And these sweet colossus really do seem to be living up to their name. They are both sweet and colossal, so very excited for the season ahead. And there's little splashes of red all over the beds. Lovely. I did actually manage to earth up these potatoes, but I saw it somewhere this week that you don't have to earth up first and second early potatoes. I've never heard that before. Is that true? Do you bother? I mean, I am going to use grass clippings when I get them. Maybe I didn't have to go to all this effort. I don't know. If you know better, tell me please. And I'm in the process of earthing these up. These are main crop, so they do need to be earthed up, I believe. The peas are doing well. They get a lot of water. They are one of my priorities for water. And not all the onions have bolted yet. And I'm hoping that with the rain coming in a week's time, although I suspect as we get nearer, the rain forecast will disappear. But if we do get some rain, it will be very well needed. I'm watering these. You can see the ground's damp. I've watered these as well. So yeah, the peas are doing well so far, despite this very, very hot, dry spell, which has been going since the end of February now. It's quite remarkable. Oh yes, and the courgettes are still going okay. You might be able to see in that centre line of tomato plants, I've put some spinach. I expect it to bolt. My normal spinach always bolts. I've never ever cropped conventional spinach, but I'm giving it another go. And these tomato plants, which did look ragged, I've discovered, I mean, these were well hardened off, but despite a week of hardening off, when they went in the ground they still looked very poorly. But what I find is, and you can probably see it, this is a good example, the new growth looks a lot lusher and greener. And with nighttime temperatures now up around the 9 or 10 degrees and daytime temperatures well into the 20s, these should be okay. I mean, if they're not, that's a lot of plants to lose. We do eat a lot of tomatoes in soups and sauces, etc. Anyway, so far so good. Another in the category of good are the broad beans. That's the big thing about the dry weather, is the lack of slugs. I mean, I've already had a little bit of slug damage on the strawberries, but you know, with that membrane over them I would expect that. But the broad bean plants look incredible, and there are bean pods forming. So yep, the broad beans are going in the good category. Might get a nice crop of gooseberries this year as well. A little bit of weeding to do here. The weeding is just non-stop, isn't it? Non-stop. Right, now for some really important news on the plot. This is my honeyberry, and I noticed this week I have fruit on it. That's remarkable. Never had fruit on the honeyberry before, but that might even be edible now, I'm not sure. Never eaten a honeyberry before. Or is what they call in Canada a hascap? Is that what David said? A hascap. It was him that encouraged me to buy it. And we have fruit. Big news. And I know I've said it so many times, it even bores me, but this rose arch, I mean, some of the roses have gone over. I've done a bit of deadheading on it this week, but you know, I sit up there with my cup of coffee and just smile to myself at the beauty of these two roses. Fantastic. Another good that is often overlooked by myself, and I would suggest others, is the flowers on these blackberries. This arch here, I'd sit here with my cup of tea or coffee and I just admire the beauty of it, and the bees are buzzing all over it during the day. They are stunning. And the final one that I'm going to put in my good category is the asparagus. Now, I am aware that it looks blimmin' awful, all these weeds. You wouldn't believe how many times I've been on my hands and knees in the last 2 or 3 weeks weeding this. But that aside, we have taken spears and spears. We've got more today for our Sunday dinner. Our daughter Charlotte and her little boy George are coming down for a couple of days, and they will be having asparagus for tea, whether they like it or not. Yeah, the asparagus has been really good. Not sure if you can see it, but even though the asparagus has been fantastic, I am plagued a bit by the asparagus beetle. It doesn't really affect the crop. I'll pick them off and squash them in a second, and as long as you keep that up, they don't really do a great deal of harm to the crop. But that's one of the bads. I think the most significant bad is the bolting of the onions. Yeah, this bed, they've almost all bolted, and I suspect they all will. So yeah, the bolting has been bad this year because of this incredible prolonged dry hot spell. And the only other thing I would say is last year I sowed, all my onions last year were sown from seed, and we had almost no crop of onions last year. Two things happened to the seed onions. First of all, they were eaten by the slugs because last year's spring was incredibly wet, and those that weren't eaten by the slugs bolted. So even the seeds bolt, You know, the year before, all my seed onions were fantastic, and I thought, I've solved it. But it's not true. So the fight goes on. The only good part about these onions is, even though they're bolted, I'm going to start soon to process them, and we will chop them all up and freeze them. So it's not all lost. But yeah, the onions have been bad this year. And the final category, the ugly. And if we leave me out of it, the thing that's really ugly on the plot is the weeds. And you know, I don't beat myself up about it anymore, but you can see there, that's an example. This week I lifted every one of those paving slabs and weeded around it and put them all back. And there's one I've yet to do, and another one, and so on. And even the beds, you know, the hoe's constantly on the move when I'm up here, but it's still difficult to keep on top of. So that's the only thing ugly on the plot, unless you can tell me otherwise. You see down there my leeks. I'm trying to leave the leeks to go in and replace the broad beans, and I think the broad beans will be finished by July, but those leeks are getting quite big and I have nowhere to put them. It's a bit of a problem. I have 2 further sowings of leeks coming on, but they were the first and the best. And my dahlia table here, which is not exclusively dahlias, but they're all doing rather well, some better than others, but I'm very pleased with their progress. And here you can see I've got buds, flower buds, so very optimistic about the dahlias. I've already got a problem with where to put things, and still got more coming up from the greenhouse. It's a lovely problem to have. Those are my butternuts. These are the beans that are sowed about 5 days ago. A couple of them are showing their heads. Cucumbers, winter squash, mashed potato. Yeah, it is a very productive year. The pond doesn't have a lot of water left in it at the moment. It's still a thing of beauty though. Well, I'm very happy to tell you that I earned £157 from the produce I took to the farm shop last year. That's my best ever result. So the produce I take to the farm shop, they sell it and they split the profit 50-50, farm shop and me. So my produce made over £300 profit at the farm shop last year. Now most people don't grow produce here, let alone take it to the farm shop. So I'm rather pleased with that. That almost pays for my 2.5 plots. So yeah, very happy. Goes to show how expensive fruits and vegetables are becoming. But yeah, very happy, £157. I shan't see a penny of it because it goes to the long-haired Sergeant Major, of course. Well, I've talked about the lack of space that I've got on my 2.5 allotments. So let's look at that in detail. So this is the first empty bed of 4. This is going to be my pumpkins. And I'm leaving the plastic sheet on, and I will grow the pumpkins down the edge so I can water them easily with the bottles in the usual fashion. And then they'll spread across there, fill that space, and hopefully that plastic has warmed the soil up nicely. So that's the pumpkin bed. This is the second empty bed. And I've popped 3 sunflowers in 3 of the corners, and the theory there is that they will grow sufficiently tall to get above the butternuts that I'm going to plant in there. That's going to be my butternut bed. I've got 10 butternut plants. I'm not sure I'll plant them all there, but because what happens is I end up with far too many butternuts and they all go to the shop. So But anyway, that's going to be the butternuts, and the sunflowers will get their heads above them before they fill out and block out the light. That's bed number 2. Bed number 3. This is where I'm going to plant my you cheeky buggers. You're probably aware of them. They're little red pumpkins, not grown for Halloween, but actually grown to eat in pies, soups, etc. I'm going to try them. They seem very popular with other plotters, so I'm going to give them a go. And the theory is, again, they'll be planted down this edge so it's easy to water, and then they'll spread across the plastic sheet. And of course the plastic sheet serves a number of purposes. It warms the soil up, not that we need that this spring, I don't think. It suppresses the weeds. What else does it do? That's it. I like that method. It keeps the bed... yeah, it means I don't have to weed it at all, and the plants have a free run. Yeah, so that's for the you cheeky curries. Bed number 3. And bed number 4 doesn't take any working out, does it? That's for all the beans I'm going to grow. And I hoe it every week, keep the soil clean, ready for the beans, which will probably go in a week or 2. So that's all the 4 beds I have empty, and they are all allocated. And unfortunately I still have more crops. All my strawberry plants are no more than a year old. They're all grown from runners, except those sweet colossus, which I mentioned. So I want fruit this year. I don't need new plants. So the job I'm going to do today, I'm going to remove the netting and remove all the runners, so that the plant isn't putting effort into reproducing, it's putting all its effort into the fruit. So that's the job I've got now. Another boring one, but a very necessary one for the best crop of strawberries. Okay, for this week's category, where the blimmin' hell do I put them, I have some cucumber plants. There are 2 missing. They're in the greenhouse at home. Usually that does us. 2 cucumber plants in the greenhouse at home will supply all the cucumbers Cheryl and I need, and more. But I've got these 4. They're perfectly good plants. I have offered them to some other plotters, but they've all got their own. And I'm not wasting them. I can't throw plants away. So I'm going to wander the plot now and see if I can't find somewhere just to stick these. I've got a suspicion that where I set up that wire frame to grow raspberries and they didn't all come true, I might be able to fit them in there. We'll see. But I can't throw plants away. Just can't do it. I'm actually very pleased with that. It's quite a big piece of space there, so that's now filled. Cucumber Passandra, sown on the 11th of April, planted today, which I think is the 18th of May. Away you go, fellas. Well, this is the kind of job I find incredibly boring, but it is nice to see the result when it's done. So, this is before and after. 15 minutes tops. Right, I've earned a brew. Well, a very small but significant harvest. A few strawberries. Gerald will probably just eat those out the pot. And there was me a couple of weeks ago saying that I've never managed to grow decent radish. I've never had radish like I've had this spring. And yet I would have thought, because of the dry weather, they would have all bolted. But they're really tasty and succulent and big. Very happy with that. Every year produces shocks, surprises and disappointments. And the radish definitely come under the surprises category. Very happy. Oh, what a lovely day. Fantastic. John's turned up, doesn't usually come on a Sunday, so that's a nice surprise. Had a bit of a chat. I'm very happy with how it's going. The plot's never looked as good. And I don't, like I said before, I don't beat myself up about the weeds. Weeds are an inevitable part of gardening. You can't stop them. All you can do is restrict them. The main thing is the crops are growing. And in the beds they're not really having to compete with the weeds. So yeah, it could not be going better right now. Anything can happen. As they say, confidence is that feeling you get just before you fall flat on your face. But I have to say, every year's different, but this has been a bit special. So, thank you for joining me. Thanks for those who've subscribed. And who knows, I'm sure I'll be around next week. Until then, enjoy your own gardens. Enjoy the weather while it lasts. It's memorable. I'll see you next week. Until then, take care. Bye for now.